Hello YouTube, today we'll be talking about meme cults and various other subjects that I have in the title. So, I know a lot of people criticize me sorry, let me rephrase that. A lot of people criticize me rather because I like to attack on the whole meme cult thing. I know people like to say also that I stir up this term that's a really cringe term and that I'm cringe because I'm against these meme cults. And to be honest, I didn't come up with the term. Actually, Alexander Strangelove came up with the term. He called the Cali collective a cult, and he said, well, and he explained to me this subject. So to be honest, before we start this off, it wasn't me that came up with this idea, nor was I the person that kind of, fell with this. I'll tell you all the story of this definition of this. So during Korea, as you all, well, not everyone knows this, but some of you guys know this, that Cali was in Korea as a developer alongside Federatively and a few other of his friends. As you all also know, that Callie and his collective are very good developers. They're very good with aesthetics. I can admit that, and I can admit they used to be very good officers. They were very competent. They're also very good fighters. The issue with these guys is they're very I mean, from a normal perspective, I would say that they're cringe, but from the community perspective, from people that play Roblox, it would say that they're normal. But I mean, if you were in real life and you saw the way these guys behave, or if you're in another game, you'd say they're cringe. Not that I take this game seriously against real life or anything, but rather that's just how I kind of viewed it. A lot of people come to this game to reenact, but they come on here to really just screw around, and I understand why. I spoke to a person recently about this who spoke to me in a serious way, I guess, in DM voice chat, and he said that these people are they're basically beats the baby get down, because the way he termed it was very complex. You have to be very politically active to understand this. And yes, this is more for political reason, at least in my opinion, I think it is, and in his opinion, but it's basically a dog whistle for I don't want to say the alt-right, so I would say, for I guess base and red-pilled people. And a lot of you guys on the left side of the spectrum don't know what this means. So base and red-pilled is basically the opposite of, being woke on the left. It's essentially, you know what's going on. You're anti-immigration. You know that the elite control everything. It's like a Joker perspective of the system. And these people, I guess, I don't know why they do this. I think it's because I think Roblox is very far left and they're very pro-communism. And as a result, anyone that is on the right side of the spectrum, including me, would not take it seriously. People think that if you take this game seriously, you're kind of following their rules. And since Roblox is far left, following the rules is just autistic, I guess, according to these people. So as a result of it, so they don't seem like they were a traitor to their ideology or some shit like that, according to these people that I spoke to, they kind of meme around. They kind of try to destroy the program's legitimacy by, it's kind of like a dog whistle, I guess you could say. The way they act with the meme cults, they make references to their ideology, references to all these things, the use of memeing around. Because if you were seriously making a speech about what was actually going on, I guess I could agree that it would be a little cringe. It would seem a little bit like Luisado and a few other things. But my issue with meme cults, because I could honestly care less. This game doesn't politically motivate me. My politics is in real life, and that's where it stays. But back to what I was talking about at the beginning. So Alex termed these people meme cults. You have the chief cults, the chief meme cult rather. You have the Cali cults, that's what I call them, or the Cali meme cult. I would guess you could say that IGA was the first variant of this. IGA was kind of the first group to not use grammar and kind of screw around without really being criticized or laughed at or being called like a lower end. And then that's just because they got bored. They got bored of being serious. They got bored of role playing. They got bored of doing all the things they wanted to accomplish, like making a huge group and winning battles and stuff. So after those 3 years, 2 years of doing all they did, they just took things less seriously. So socially, I guess you could say they were awkward, but when it came to actual logistics and strategy, they were actually very, very competent and very equipped. For instance, they had radio men that they would transfer orders from an officer to the low ranks or an NCO to the low ranks to tell them what they were supposed to do on the battlefield. This is all before voice chats were very much used. And then the OSS and USM also used similar tactics. But the OSS didn't do it because they were bored. The OSS used these tactics in a Binals USM in 2016 to actually get the enemies to underestimate them. So when they fought, The enemy, all these guys are immature. They just meme around. They're cringe. They're edgy. I don't know, whatever else. So the OSS and Nerfers special forces would just do it so they would get underestimated. So when they fought the enemy, they would underestimate them, and as a result, I guess they would fail and fall apart. I had to deal with these kind of guys and Nerfer dudes TWP, and it was not really fun. The Richters are complete opposite of a meme cult, so I mean, when we had to deal with the guys, it was full on like just exile these guys, get rid of these retards, you know. But during Korea, we actually exiled the Kali meme cult, and we got rid of all the developers and stuff that helped build the map. I felt bad. I felt really bad for them, but it was annoying because the thing is they don't really mess with you that often. If you're not in agreement with how they are, the way they act, you know, they will criticize you, but they won't actually really attack you until you oppose them. Once you start being really serious, once you start saying that you're tired of them memeing around, they'll actually start trying to like attack you. And they'll do it in very accommodative ways, and that's how they usually deal with people. Is like they'll, for instance, if you have a tank, they'll get into that tank and they'll shoot a huge line of people, and they'll, you know, it'll be funny to them. And then when the people report the guys as the leader will also laugh. They'll manipulate him some way or another, and you know that's how these meme cults tend to work. They're these small little families that are very good at coordination with themselves, but are very you know, you can't really define the way they act. I guess you could say they're socially awkward, but I mean, you could also use this term meme cults like I always use, but like you can't term it in a way that it doesn't sound weird or off. That's the thing with these people. You can't really identify them. It's not like you're using a term like they're National Socialists. You can't, you know, they're not really bonded by that ideology. They say you know, I don't even know if they are or not at this point because they say unironic not soc things. Another thing about them is they're very ironic, and you see, I don't have an issue with memeing or any of that stuff in general. It's when it comes to this game, you know, we want to roleplay, we want to reenact, and they just go around and they just troll. For instance, let me show you these screenshots. So this group, the reason I've been on it the entire time, is because they're an example of what the meme cults are doing. The main places where they are at the moment is in Lebanon and in this GDR. And I'm really pissed off for a very good reason. You know, the GDR, or DDR rather, it's always been a very favorite culture and nationality that I've always looked into and overjoyed. But you know, when you have these meme cults coming in and just taking everything over and just destroying all the culture and all of them, you know, aesthetics and everything, it really pisses me off. Like seriously, you could do anything else but come in here and just tear apart the everything. You know, you look at this group, look at this poor group. I know it's funny, okay? Ha ha ha, you're making fun of Israel. Ha ha ha, you know, you're red pill, you're based, you're making sense, and other people are listening to you because you're funny about it, you know? But, you know, it's not, like, do I want to join this now? No, I don't want to join this because I don't want to deal with these kind of people all day long. Nor do I want to meme around and be socially awkward like they are. You know, you have a military like this, a military that looks competent and active, and, you know, something you'd actually want to join. But, like, you know, then you have issues like this, you know, and these guys are in the special forces, they're not in the army or anything, but like there's not really a point, you know. They just go around, meme around, and spew jokes. They'll shoot people at random, you know. People say that they're harmless, but in my opinion, you know, if you actually let them run around like they want to do, they'll blow up people, they'll shoot people, they'll, you know, actual commit things in game that I guess you could say are disorganized and stuff like that. And people criticize me for this because they think I'm cringe and I'm too serious. That, you know, it's healthy to have memes and, you know, yeah, sure. I could honestly care less. But when you're trying to run a military group, it's just better that people are obedient and disciplined and just, you know, actually following through with it. Otherwise, it's not very immersive. It's not very, you know, you all know what I mean. People always think that I'm talking about, oh, you gotta commit your life to this game. No. People think that I'm against memeing around and having fun. No. I'm against trying to basically turn everything into a shit show where you're shit posting almost constantly and 24/7, ironically and unironically, to get some laughs out of people. You know, like I've said, I think that meme cults kind of generated out of the fact that groups got boring. And since the groups got boring, people find enjoyment in instead memeing around and joking because actually playing the concept of the group and the idea around it is just generally boring. So they meme around just so they can have fun in a boring game. You know, I just want to mention the fact, because enough of meme cults, I also, this is another topic, the fact that Roblox and the right wing and politics. I've noticed in the past 4 months there's been a lot more, and I'm not saying this like I'm against them. I'm a national populist. I'm very much on the side of the right, if not the alt-right or the far right or third position or whatever else you want to term it. Because I'm not going to say one term and half the community said like you can't say that, you libtard. You're calling us alt-right. How dare you? I'm not going to say far right because people also get hate that term. And then there's third position, which that's kind of farther than national populist, but it's whatever. I'll just call it whatever. So a lot of these people are what I call base and red pilled, um, I guess, and it's increasing on this platform. And it's not that I'm against it; it's just interesting. You have these actual fascist groups. You have actual people that are, you know. Oh, another thing I want to bring up this screen check. This isn't. So I'm gonna put this one at the back. Actually, we'll go over this one later. Um, but you know what I mean. We have these national unionist fronts, and positionalists, and I don't know what triggered these guys. To be honest, I don't know if it's an influence in the real life, but um, the thing is I'm used to the anarchists, the far left, being a popular aesthetic and stuff on this game. When we had the Jacobins, and then we have a little spammed Soviet Union groups that are unironically communist. I think the Jacobins were ironically anarchist and ironically communist. And I think they were also ironically all these things because there was too many totalitarian groups. There was too many groups that were basically wannabe German Empire, but with a monarchist aesthetic. And as a result, I think they didn't like them because they were cringe. They were the kind of people that you just didn't actually understand the actual ideology of national conservatism or nationalism or anything on that spectrum. They just didn't actually understand, and they were just wannabes. They were just wereaboos. So they didn't want to associate with all that cringe. So they made a far left group, ironically, to counter these people. And then once it got taken down, now they're role playing as these national unionists, these all sorts of fun things on the right spectrum of the political. And not to mention, in real life, there's also a large spree of national conservatives, or rather, I would say real conservatives, because we have Ben Shapiro, we have Charlie Kirk, and you have other real life figures. I'm not getting into them because this is Roblox, not real life, but I will say that with all the real conservatives that are against these fake conservatives in real life in America, and I guess in Europe too, with the right on the rise, it's going to trigger stuff on other medias as well, like Roblox, in my opinion. So with all that going on in real life, it's going to inspire people to take action in games and whatever else. Carrying on, is it just an example of people? This Vag guy used to be part of my career. He kind of seemed like he was open to the idea of communism or some shit. It was kind of cringy, but now he's going around calling people Jews and stuff. This guy is like a 12-year-old or 13-year-old. You shouldn't be recruiting young children to your uh, political movements on this game. You shouldn't even have political movements on this game, unironically, but whatever. Um, then we also have this. I mean, like I said, these are examples of proof that this is actually going on. People could say, false, false, false. There's no rise in nationalism on this game, you know. But then we have this. You wouldn't see this in a typical game. I've noticed how open people are becoming about opposing Israel and following nationalism and things like that. It's kind of funny in my opinion because you'd think it'd be the opposite. Because Roblox is more and more harsh every year on this subject. They banned Rhodesian groups a few months ago, and they started banning Stalinist groups because of Stalin was an anti-Semite or something. And then they started banning they just go down the road to even further and further and further. Now they're banning unionist groups and stuff like that. Anything even close to nationalism. Even nationalism is becoming a threat, and it didn't used to. Anything past nationalism was a threat to Roblox, but now even nationalist is. And now there's talk that soon it's going to be conservatives and Trump supporters. They go more and more extreme, but the more extreme Roblox goes, the more extreme the player base will go on supporting those ideas. And it's very interesting. And I can't really talk about why or how, because I don't actually know why or how this is. I guess it's because, people wake up to the truth or whatever, but, there's that. We're going to talk about this. This is the last screenshot I'll be showing. Then I'll be just showing around Roblox ranting, I guess. But I'm going to bring up the fact that people think I'm a NAT Soc unironically. I'm not a NAT Soc unironically. It should be beyond obvious to this fact that I'm not a NAT Soc unironically. I don't know why people think this, because I don't have a swastika in my room. I don't have any form of that in my room. I do have an Iron Cross, but I mean, I've never really brought it out in public. It's just sitting in a drawer, and it has been ever since I got it. It's been sitting in a drawer. I don't unironically take it and wear it or look at it or anything. It's just, I would say more or less collecting. I did go to a GOP event with a fasci and an American Eagle, but that was a part of the GOP youth. The youth for my county I'm in was required, not really required, but you had to wear that uniform. The uniform was a white dress shirt, black dress pants, and the GOP not the leader of it, but like the cell leader, whatever you want to. I don't know how their hierarchy works. I'm not really active in the GOP anymore. But when I was in that youth group for the GOP, the leader, whatever, said that he would give out these American Eagles with a fasci, and he wore a golden one, and the rest of us wore you know, bronze or whatever our rank was, right? So that's how that worked for like 2 weeks or so. We had to do that, and then we weren't eventually we could just dress casual, but that was how it was for a little bit. And I asked them why, and shoots with a few other people, because then we started seeing an American flag with a fasci replacing the stars and stripes, and they said that it wasn't a movement because of actual fascism. It was they were using it because they wanted to show unity among the conservatives. They wanted to show unity among how we were going to crush the communists and the far left, and it was a symbol to be used to show that they were going to unify against the left or something like that. I don't really remember. They also brought up the fact the founding fathers and Abraham Lincoln used the symbol to show unity, and that we're Americans, and that if you're unified together, you can get much more done. All that. That's the whole concept definition they brought up to me. It wasn't a movement of fascism. It wasn't anything relevant to that. It's the GOP. If it really was that, we would get kicked off. We would. They wouldn't even approve that, but they did approve it. And these are all boomers that were approving this. These are all, higher ups that are 50, 60, 70 year old, and you know, unless they have no idea what fascism even is. So that gets that all the way. What I actually am is I'm kind of stuck between a populist and a national populist, because national populism is you're kind of going towards unironic no, not nationalist, because not nationalist is okay. It's not bad at all. But when you go towards fascism and not socialism, I think that's where you have to draw the line, because, if you're unironically supporting that, you got to realize that how are you going to advocate for a movement in the modern world for any of those things when it's been so, deteriorated almost. You got to use something, in my opinion, if you want to get the people to vote, the popularity, you got to use something that's more appropriate to the modern era. In the 40s, 30s, 50s, 60s, I mean, yeah, sure, it would have worked before the 50s probably, or before the end of World War II, I guess it could have worked. But after all that, as time went on, the terms just became more of an insult. Now both sides of the spectrum are trying to use the term Nazi as an insult rather than a political term. So you can't really associate with those terms anymore. Not that I support those in any way, shape, or form, but the fact that you just can't really identify. It could be almost considered as cringe going around saying you're an unironic fascist or unironic Nazi. It's just, you just don't do that. So I'm a more or less of a national populist, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I'm not going to say I am one just yet officially, because I can't just go around saying I'm an ideology when I haven't even studied most of it. I've taken notes, I've watched videos, I've studied the ideology as much as I can, but until I've spoken with other actual national populists and actually participated in many other things like that, I can't really say I am one. So for now, I guess you could say I'm just a general populist until I've actually understood and can say I actually am on that spectrum. So no, I'm not anything like Lewis. I don't want to be like Lewis. I don't have a swastika in my room, or anything like that. Because I just don't. I don't understand why I would. I don't know where the song is coming from, to be honest. I don't know if it's from the video, because I did hear there was like a meme where they played some song or something like that, or there was a song in the video that was played. I don't know what that's all about. But it has some correlation to it. I think it does. But other than that, I think I want to mention, because I just brought up politics, but a lot of people think it's cringe that you bring up real life when you're playing a Lego game. Like, what do you mean it's cringe? I mean, if I'm in a Discord chat and someone talks about conservatism, and they say one thing, I say the other, it's not really cringe. It's just a general conversation. You know, it's like saying you can't have any historical accuracy because that's cringe and that's real life. You know, there's nothing cringe about arguing or debating on Discord or sometimes in game about real life issues. What I would find cringe is talking about Roblox in real life, or maybe on a Discord server irrelevant to Roblox. So if I met with a friend and we talk about Roblox, that's cringe. But speaking of real life things in Roblox, I think isn't really cringe. You know, you don't have to go full on alt history because if politics in Roblox being debated is cringe, then all historically accurate groups is cringe on Roblox. By that example, I mean that's common sense, but not people even realize that. So, but that all the way. You know, like I say, it's a waste of time them doing these videos because no one really cares, do they? I mean, they want me to be wrong. They want me to be on the wrong side of the field. They want me to lose and be defeated. They don't care if I'm right. So they'll say I'm wrong, and they'll say I'm wrong even if I am right. But you know, it's good to get these videos out, information out, just to you know keep the truth because you never know. People could actually believe these people when they're watching my YouTube, and just because they didn't get the word out, they could sway a whole other path. So hope that clears a few things up. And that's really my opinion on the meme cults, because other people, that's the main thing else to see with disliking me. It's like, oh my god, he's so cringe. He's a cringe baby. I'm like, no, I'm not a cringe baby. Trust me. You know, most cringiest thing I've done this year is probably sang a song in a voice chat on recording, and that's probably about it. I wouldn't say that me yelling in a voice call ironically or kind of ironically, because I mean I wasn't actually screaming, I wasn't actually raging, I wasn't actually angry, so you could say I was ironically shouting, in a sense, um, isn't really cringe or the term cringe, to be honest, even though I'm overusing it, is actually being overused because I hear it all the time. Cringe this, cringe that, cringe this, cringe that. That's cringe. This is cringe. It's like a whole. I never knew this term would be used like this 2 years ago. It wasn't used like this. Now it is. And now I'm overusing it because everyone else is overusing it. They're calling this cringe, that cringe. Like it's a feeling. You know, the term wasn't originally invented to be used like this in all these contexts, but I mean, I guess it is. I guess it just is. So, I guess we're going to deal with it like that, aren't we? That's all I really have to say. There's a lot of things, a lot of topics I could talk about, but they don't really need to be said or talked about. I mean, this group's aesthetic, this group's idea, it's all cool. But I mean, guess who leads it? Why does Casanova lead this group? And if you don't believe me, check this out. Volksleader, people's leader. I don't even know how that term got bypassed, but I mean, look at this. Casanova. The guy owns the group, he runs the group, it's all his. And I thought he was going to make another city group, because that's what he said he was going to do in October, late October, right? And unto November he was going to continue this, but I guess he's not. So, I've always had issues with this guy. I've always have. It's not going to stop, because it's just how Casanova works. You can't trust him. I kind of agree with this philosophy that you can't really, you gotta be self-reliant, you gotta be self-independent, you can't always be nice. I agree. But, even though we have a similar philosophy, we don't really have the same idea. Casanova is not really much of a role player. He's not really much of an admirer of, well, he has some taste and aesthetic, but not really completely. I'd say he has a decent taste. His aesthetic his taste and aesthetic is as, I guess convenient as Nerfer Dude's taste and aesthetic, so says a lot. That all being said, he's in there for the money mostly, in my opinion anyway. He's running with all these limiteds. If he took the thing seriously, at least his own character would look something similar to a general secretary, in my opinion. I mean, I'm the king of Scotland. I'm wearing a cloak and I look like Emperor Palpatine, but I mean, it's still realistic. You don't see the general secretary of Germany running around with a bunch of fedoras, and this is why people say I'm cringe, because I'm very realistic, and I get that. I'm very realistic with how I want things in this game. That I want it all to be realistic, but not. I mean, seriously. I mean, I can't really take someone seriously if they're walking around like this, and you're supposed to salute them and say, "Glory, glory, glory, Secretary General, leader of the German people, German Empire, German Republic." You just can't. Think of it from that perspective. That's what I find cringe to me, is this guy's taken seriously when he looks like this, But yeah, people say I'm cringe because I'm criticizing this on a Lego game. Yeah, it's a Lego game. That's why I'm taking it seriously in the sense that, it's role play. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to, it's a sandbox. If it was something else like Warband or I don't know, with any other Steam game, I guess you wouldn't really give a shit, would you? Because you don't have to worry about this. You have to worry about someone playing Total War Empire and seeing fedoras running around. But I don't play Total War. I don't play any Steam games. I don't have to worry about historical accuracy or anything. I mean, I guess it's because I'm very historically accurate that I'm always, OCD about really irrelevant shit, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Lebanon is active though. Like I said, it's not because of the meme cults, it's because of the fact that it's kind of like role play. It's kind of role play. It's kind of the role play that is interesting. You have events going on 24/7, people getting kicked out, and it's interesting, but you know, that's my opinion. Without a doubt, we're gonna get some hate in the comments, hate in the dislikes and stuff like that. So prepare for that. It always happens, but who gives a shit? So have a great day, everyone. Hopefully this clears up things and you enjoyed this. Have a nice day.